lovely people of the internet, I am the Breathing Canvas, and today I'm going to show you my Maleficent look.
Looking at the sketch.
So on the forehead, we have the ribbing of the dragon stomach, the form that Maleficent takes on when she becomes a dragon. Yeah. So we have all the ribbing on her dragon stomach represented on her forehead. So it's basically green and purple are her colors. We also have little rhinestones all over the forehead because it just wouldn't be a look done by me if there weren't something shiny in there. I mean, come on. The eyes, we have the really arched and defined eyebrows, and then we have the deep set, huge eyes that Maleficent has. She already has the kind of structure of a dragon with her very angular and pronounced nose and the deep set eyes, which I think are just so gorgeous. So we're doing a little bit of shadowing on the nose and in the kind of the bridge, the inner eye corner here to really help define that. Both the Disney version of Maleficent as well as her dragon persona. And then on the cheeks, we are doing contouring with a little bit of green. I think I'm also gonna go ahead and make those elevated cheekbones because I can and it's fun. And we have deep dark red lips with a little bit of black in there because she is one dark lady. Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's get started. We're gonna We're gonna smear some green avocado on the forehead. Ugh. Actually, first I'm going to outline it. So we're gonna go from the temples here and kind of dip it down just above the brow. Ah, it's cold. You're gonna want to blend this into the hairline so it doesn't look like a mask. You want to make sure that this is a very thick and solid green because we're not putting other things over it or mixing in with other colors. We're just doing the few lines of purple and black for the shadows. So what I did to make sure that it wasn't so splotchy, after I put on my basic layer, I went back with a paintbrush and I just went over it and did thick, kind of light layers. You don't want to smudge it in too harshly or it's gonna wipe away the cream makeup you have there. So I just went over with a paintbrush to do that. All right, so now we're gonna go on to the purple. We're gonna do a few lines here. By the way, this is me whistling on a good day. Sometimes my whistles are just like So what I'm doing is I'm kind of making dots to connect. That's kind of make it easier to make a curve and also to see where things are even, because if you make a dot and it looks a little bit off, you can always take that one little section and cover it up with green. Whereas opposed to if you make a line and it's like totally wonky and wrong, erasing all of that is just gonna be a little bit more of a hassle. So I'm kind of imagining, kind of seeing where the lines will probably be, and then I'm gonna connect the dots. That's also gonna help make a more smooth curve. So I'm kind of working symmetrically. I'm going a little bit here, a little bit there, then going off a little bit further here and there, instead of just kind of swooping all across the forehead. So that you can do one thing on one side and then imitate what you just did on the other side. All right, so we did some shadows. So guess what's next? So what I'm doing is kind of taking my paintbrush and dabbing just lightly. Then I'm gonna go over with a clean paintbrush and just smudge that in very lightly. You just want a lighter green, kind of in the center of the green section. I'll probably go back and really define these lines. You don't want it to be too blurred together. You still want that definite of, okay, this is the shadow and this is the highlight, but you do want them to blend in. You want a good transition. So I'll be working on that. So this is looking good, and it's gonna look a lot better with, guess what? Rhinestones! Let's now go on to the cheekbones. So what I'm gonna do is take my ooey gooey spirit gum. Yay! We're just gonna put little dots of spirit gum right on the cheekbone. We're gonna let that dry and tacky up for the scar wax. Even though the scar wax is sticky, it will like stick to my fingers or my spatula as much as it would my cheek. So it's just gonna help it really adhere to the face. So while that's drying, we're gonna work on the eyes. So we're doing the lids with the dark green. Fill in all of the crease with a dark purple, all the way here to the very edge, following that crease line, making it just a little bit more thicker at the edge here. And we're also going to do a little bit of a dark line up here and then fade it into the bridge over here to give it that really sunken, evil look. And then fade out the purple. I'm taking a plum and then I'll do a really light lilac on the very top here. Now it's going to be my, guess what, highlight for my shadow. And then I'm going to go back with the purple cream. and just do a really, really light line from the brow to the bridge of the nose. Again, to give it that narrow nose and also kind of to mimic that intensity of like the same kind of shape as the nose or like the muzzle, I guess, of the dragon when she's in dragon mode. Alright, so then I'll go over with a little bit of green. I'll do some liquid eyeliner here, do a little bit of eyeliner at the bottom here too. I'm going to do like an intense wing, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the other side, and then we'll go on to the cheeks. I know what I'd look like if I were in an 80s band. Alrighty, so what you're going to do is you're going to make a snake and make it kind of thinner on the edges so it can thin out. You're going to lay it on spirit gummed cheek, and then you're going to take your spatula and you're going to blend it in, making sure that this is heightened, and how elevated it is up to you. After you smooth everything out and you want it to be a little bit higher, just add more scar wax to the center and blend that in. So basically it's like you're sculpting. Scar wax, sculpting, scar. Now they're like an 80s rock star who got stung by a bee. We are going to cover this up with liquid latex just to help seal it and give it kind of a protective coat, and then we can go over with makeup and everything. Also because it is sticky, just to make it not sticky. I'm using a Q-tip because that is basically like a disposable paintbrush. I told you, sparkles make everything better. Okay, so I put latex on, let it dry, and then I put it over with a little bit of powder to set it and make it not so sticky. So I think that color actually blends in pretty well with the face. Again, in person you can see it's like pretty dark, and the texture is different because of the scar wax and the liquid latex. It's gonna leave a little bit of, some few lines there. It's not gonna be perfect, especially since this is my first time doing the cheek. I could have spent forever sculpting, getting really, really smooth, but since this is a creature, Maleficent is part dragon, I'm pretty happy with this. And since it is elevated, the highlights again are gonna be a little bit lighter, so this works pretty good. Now what we're gonna do is take our paintbrush and do some contouring with green right below the cheekbone here. I'm gonna fade it out just to help give the idea of just how insane her cheekbones are, because the scar wax is still impressionable and you can still move it, so just be light with all of your dabbing. And now all I have left are the lips. So I just really want to quickly go over what I did with the lips. I wanted to make it really, I don't know, my lips had that kind of power. I wanted to make it very angular because Maleficent is very angular with her cheeks, her dramatic eyes, and her actual eyelids and everything. Same thing with the lips. So we have two kind of trilangers. We have two triangles here. The tips, besides the Cupid's bow, that's your little dip here below your nose, is really up there, and this is really in and out, so it's kind of like a trapezoid. It's very defined and detailed. And now just the black. Not necessary, but it's fun. It adds a little character to it. So what I'm gonna do is just go on the edges here, and then on the top of this little inner lid here, and then we'll be done.